Hi there, business owner. Are you looking to improve your business knowledge? Do you want to see behind the scenes of successful businesses? And more importantly, are you looking to build a better business in just 15 minutes each week? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the 3Bs podcast.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3Bs podcast. As always, I'm your host Stephanie and I'm back on my own. Can you believe it? The summer is over. We are back to normality, back to routines, less juggling. Although school runs are still just as tough, right? But here we are, back on my own. Thank you to the amazing guests that kept me company over the summer. And I'd love to know how you're getting along, how you're enjoying the video podcast now that you can see me as well as hear me. If you are listening like you usually do, you can carry on doing so, it's not a problem. But we are over on YouTube. I would really love it if you could head over there and subscribe so that we can reach more business owners to help them build a better business. Now, on to this week. We are less than 100 days away from Christmas. I know I said the C word really early, but as business owners, we know the festive season can be crucial, and depending whether you're product-based or service-based, there's going to be different levels of busyness, different levels of time you'll have available. But it can be a really overwhelming period and crucial for sales for some businesses. So whether you're in retail, hospitality, or a service industry, Christmas or holiday prep is really essential for a smooth and successful season, and now is the time to do it if you haven't already. So in today's episode, I'm going to share my top tips for preparing your business for the Christmas season. So grab your notepad, or if you're listening along, feel free to dip in and out and take notes as we dive into everything you need to know to maximize this festive season and build your business. So, tip number one, and probably the most important one, despite what business you have, is to start planning early. Like I said, it's less than 100 days now, and Christmas sneaks up on all of us. So if you're not prepared, it can really become chaotic. You want to avoid that last minute panic, that social media post, that, oh no, I haven't got enough stock. Instead of having that clear strategy in place now, take half a day, a couple of hours out of your business right now and plan ahead for what's going to happen. Depending on what your sales and service targets are and how busy you are this time of year, you may want to take time off for your family. You might have caring responsibilities. We're going to have the children off again soon. I can't believe it. But these things need to be taken into account. So plan ahead, have a look at what happened last year, look at the highs and the lows, use insights into your social media, the time off you had to take. Maybe you co-parent like me. So we get my children Christmas Day to New Year's Day, or the week before usually. Because Christmas is falling on a Wednesday this year, it means that our children break up on like the 20th of December, really close to actually the Christmas time. So actually I'm in the office a lot more, and our co-parenting strategy will be different to usual years, just in the way it falls. So think about those things. Think now whether you're going to throw any holiday promotions. Black Friday is obviously a big one for product-based businesses, but it can be a great selling point for service-based businesses too. So set your goals, be realistic, use your SMART goals, go back and listen to some of the goal setting episodes that we've done previously, and know where you want to go. Like, look at where you want to go and be realistic is what I say. Don't go, oh yeah, I'm going to sell more than anything, when actually you're going to take most of December off. Be realistic, think about the resources you have available. So when you think about your team, think about, out of them, who has children, who's co-parenting, who has elderly relatives that they care for. Maybe some of your employees or freelancers have health issues which are made worse in the wintertime. It's something to think of and start planning now. And I always say have a plan B as well, because things never go as they're meant to in business. They just don't, no matter how much we try. If you are a retail business, obviously it's your biggest sales period. If you're a product-based business, Black Friday into Christmas is probably one of your biggest times, unless you're selling lilos or armbands, and probably not the best time for you. So start planning for when it is going to get better for you, but then gifts can still be given at any time of the year. Plan now. Maybe you need to order in more materials, maybe you need to order in stock. Maybe to achieve the level of sales last year or increase the level of sales last year, You're going to need to look for financing options to buy the stock in advance, and you might need that cash injection that you don't currently have in the business. But this gives you a little bit of time to plan that out and get clear on what you want going forward. If you're a service-based business, again, look at the time out, look at what you physically can do in the time that you have. Maybe you won't have your children between Christmas and New Year. Actually, that's going to be a perfect time for you to get in the office and hammer out January and February. Because yes, we need to plan now for Christmas and the December period, but we also need to look ahead to the beginning of next year, because I like to take that week off with my children between Christmas and New Year, and before you know it, they're back at school. January is well in force, and for bookkeepers and accountants, January is our busiest month of the year. It's tax return season. It's that deadline time for your self-assessment tax return. So we really are super busy in the bookkeeping and accountancy practices. And also for me this year, I've decided to release a book. So I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I have a real driven passion in helping the next generation. My children are now preteens, and I think it's really important, or approaching preteen, and I think it's really important to start looking at helping the next generation. And I truly believe that if we can give financial education to children and teenagers as early as possible, it's going to help them into better adults, make better financial decisions, and more importantly, help the economy, because they're making better financial choices. So it's been a passion project for a little over a year now. I'm writing a book called Finances for Life, which will be out in December or January. We're trying to push it forward for a December release, but it's quite hard writing a book. It's not something we've ever done before, but it's quite interesting process. I'm sure I will debrief on the podcast when that comes out. But I've thrown that in there. So I've got promo, I've got a book release and a launch to do on top of everything else, on top of the practice, on top of the podcast, and I've got a few more really exciting projects in the pipeline. So all of these things have gone into my strategy for Q4 and the podcast and Christmas periods. So you really need to look at your holiday strategy and plan ahead of time. The next thing I'd want to say is, if you're a product-based business, is the stock, I sort of alluded to it earlier, is that you need to look at what stock you have, what stock you're going to need, and predict forward and forecast. The problem you've got is Black Friday and Cyber Monday is always going to be massive. It's always going to be busy. But you also get a lot of return. That's part and parcel of a product-based business. I think returns are part of a product-based business that a lot of business owners don't think about. So you need to prepare for that. Not every single sale you have is going to stay. And obviously think of your local consumer rights and things like that, and returns periods. They need to be taken into consideration when you're forecasting and predicting your stock and what you're going to need, and if you're going to need any sort of cash injection or put orders in with wholesalers and things like that. Also, product or service based, you need to look at your website. You need to optimize it and really focus on that online presence now to build that know, like, and trust in time for the Black Friday or Cyber Monday. I see so many businesses, even the big businesses, struggle with technology on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Just look at the Oasis pre-sale for the tickets. Like, I think I got to 239,000 in the queue. It took me 6 hours. The website could not cope with that bandwidth or capacity. So make sure, speak to your IT teams, check what you have on your current website. Make sure it's mobile friendly, because a lot of people search online now on their phones. They don't go on computers as much as they used to. So double check that it looks just as good on your website on a mobile as it does on a desktop or a laptop. Fast load times is a really important one, because a slow website can truly cost you sales. Check your website speed, make improvements if necessary. So having a big, heavy video on your homepage might not be ideal at this time of year, although it might sell your business amazingly. That slow website, if you could maybe take that video down or change it for something else that's quicker to load during this period, might help you to have more sales. And also your social media content, whether you're product-based or business-based, holiday content is something that's really important. Your social media is important at any time of year, but you want to be getting these ready long before December. Last year we did an ABCS UK Advent calendar with a practice where we sent out an email every day with a business tip or a guide or a gift to business owners to help them get ready for 2024. We haven't decided if we're going to do that or not yet this year. It might be something we do with a podcast instead. But again, we're reflecting back on last year, looked what worked, look what didn't, but we pre-did those well in advance. If you're product-based, are you doing holiday gift guides? Are you doing catalogues? Clients of mine are already getting theirs out to their audiences and their consumers. People are making wish lists ready for when they're purchasing for Christmas. Blog posts and even a Christmas countdown on a website could really help boost the sales, make people aware, because Christmas creeps upon us, so it's definitely going to creep up on our consumers. If you're a service-based business, you might want to update your opening and closing times. It may be that you have some closing times that we're going to close down for a week. Make sure that's already on there. Update your online booking systems if you use them, your calendars, not just putting it on the website that you're closed, otherwise people will try and book in. They always do. In our experience, it always happens no matter what. So, and any holiday offers, gift cards are a really good one if you want to boost those sales at the end of the year that can be redeemed next year. Holiday promotions and Christmas themed content is the same for service-based businesses as it is for product-based businesses. And finally, customer service and support. So communication is 99% of the problems in all of the businesses that I work with on a consultancy basis. It's procedures, processes, communication. It's usually one of those three or an amalgamation of them all. Customer service and team preparation is really important because at that busy time, when it hits, you're going to have a lot more customer service requests, you're going to have a lot more questions, you're going to have team either shorter or less people working in the team or more work for those team members to do. And making sure that your staff is trained to handle that holiday rush, prepare them, make sure they understand how things work. If you're product-based, making sure that your team can process online orders efficiently as possible. Maybe you need to look at the way your warehouse is laid out to make it easier. Maybe you have like a specific area for these holiday products so that processing orders can be more efficient, it can be quicker, and it will keep customers much more happy. Also, customer service is always important in business and it shouldn't drop just because you get busy. So make sure your team are responsive, friendly, and are aware of the sort of issues that you're going to deal with and give them almost cheat sheets of how to handle them, what the policies and procedures are on a little printout or a little document online I find really helps. So what your returns policy is, if there's any personalised items that you sell, why don't they count unless they're faulty, what are the laws and things. Train your team on them so that your customer service can be just as on form when you're busy as when you're in the quieter months. And also the resources. So if you are anticipating a really high volume of sales, you're going to have a lot more work to do. Have a look and consider maybe hiring seasonal staff to help with the workload. The promotions industry is massive for that. So you think of every shopping centre in the country will have a grotto of some description, which will have elves in it, will have Santa, and it will have all the extra staff that it wouldn't have through the rest of the year. You need to think about your business and see if it's something you need to do as well. And that brings me to the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. Thank you so much for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. I know I mentioned the C word a lot and it's a lot of information to take in 15 minutes, but that's why we're here, to help you build a better business. Christmas really is just around the corner and we really need to start, if you haven't already, perfecting those plans and getting everything in place, whether that's stock, website optimization, customer service or marketing campaigns. It's a massive opportunity to grow your business, reach new customers and build that know, like and trust in that busy period, but only if you're well prepared. So take these tips, put them into action, and let's make this December, this holiday season, your most successful one yet. If you found this episode helpful, please do subscribe to the 3Bs podcast on YouTube or wherever you're listening to it. Share this episode with one fellow business owner at least for me who could really use a holiday prep boost. And leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget you can email us at any point, hello@the3bs.com. Until next time, keep going, keep building these businesses, and I will see you next week. Bye.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please connect with us on social media. Like, rate and review wherever you are listening to this podcast so that I can help more business owners build a better business. See you next week.